So Firebase and maneuver groups. Your Firebase has to provide you a lot of firepower, which allows them to play fire cards at a distance. So let's look at that first. Your Firebase should have a recommendation I read in an article, I think it was by Don Greenwood, who I believe was a designer for Upfront, said that at range 1, your firepower should add up to 9. So let's take a look at one of these cards. Alright, Private Burke. You can see the range and firepower kind of in the middle of the card there. These cards are the personality cards, right? They tell you the nationality, the person's name, the type of weapon they're using. The CCV in the upper right is close combat value. The X6 is when your weapon breaks. On a red 6, it has a picture of the weapon. And then range and firepower. At the bottom you have your morale, how many points, that's for do your own scenarios, and KIA is killed in action number. So but for firepower, look at the range, and you see at range 1, if you just go to the side there on the table, you see firepower 1. So we want to have guys that will add up to 9 at range 1. So you can see a bunch of cards here, so you might ask, well, how do I know who to put where? Well, let's look at our maneuver group, or the qualities of a maneuver group. So the maneuver group is going to be closing with the enemy, right? And what that means is that they are likely going to be under fire, and under some pretty intense fire. So you want those guys to be able to withstand that fire and keep moving, keep at their job sort of getting into the terrain they need to, or closing as they need to, without breaking. So, or getting pinned, I guess is the Upfront lingo. So let's look at this guy. The number basically you're looking for here is morale. Okay, so your guys with higher morale are less likely to get pinned. What pinned means is that it's basically picture like you've got your head down when you're under fire. You can't do anything because you can't summon the willpower or whatever. You're kind of cowering there for a minute and need to possibly, you get up the next round or whatever. So for your maneuver group, you want your guys to be all high morale. And what that means for our fire group is that we're going to put all the low morale guys in the fire group. This is not always the best decision. It can leave your fire base vulnerable, because they're going to break more, get pinned more, but that's how we're going to do it. So I'm going to look at our morale here. I might even be able to zoom in a little bit more so we can see this better. There we go. So right now I'm going to pull the highest morale guys to the left. So what do we got here? 4, 4, 3, 1. So we're going to move the 1 over here. This guy's morale 5, super high, 3, 3. And over here we have 3, 3. Okay. So right now we have the higher morale guys in the left group. And what's the problem? We don't have enough people in our fire base. So we need to move some people that direction, because if you look over here, we're not adding up to the firepower we need. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in our group B, and I'm looking here again at the range 1 firepower. So we want at least 9. So we would end up moving a few guys over, right? So let's move this one over, and let's move this guy over. And now let's see what we got here. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 7, so still not enough. So if you look at my group A here, my maneuver group, a few things. One, the different nationalities have different weapons, and some are more powerful. The Americans have the bar. This weapon you can see at range 1 has 3, and it's the only weapon that they have at range 0 that has any firepower. So range 2. So this is a big weapon. This weapon we want in our fire group. So we're not going to put this guy keep this guy in the maneuver group. So he's going to move over. Now let's see what we got here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we actually have one more than we need. So let's scoot one of the morale 3s back over. When you have multiple people at the same morale, one thing you can look at is the points. They're really for do your own, but it can help you decide who's a little bit better. So this gentleman here has 16. You know, when you're trying to decide between a bunch of people with the same morale, and it might have no effective difference actually in their firepower, but it's one way to make the decision. All right. So looking okay here. Something else is, we'll actually talk about it in the next segment. So I think we've got our firepower in Group B where we want it. It's 9 at relative range 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we're going to talk about squad leaders next.